Welcome back to Tal's Hog Shop. What's going on, y'all? How you been, man? What we got today is a 1948 panhead frame that we're painting. It's a 1 year only. I wanted to show you what I do with motor mounts and surfaces like your transmission mounts and stuff before I paint. So I want to show you what's going on here. How y'all doing, man? Hey, hit that subscribe. Throw me a like. Great to see y'all, man. Hey, I'm gonna show you what's going on. So all these surfaces, like the upper motor mount, right here, the lower motor mounts on the front, and you know where your this is where your forward controls or your footboards connect to. In here, all these machine surfaces where your transmission sits. What I do with those is I just paint them black. They're all covered anyway. And what happens if you put paint and clear on them, you're building up that material and the weight of the motor and everything and vibration and everything, eventually that clear is going to move and it's going to be bad. What happens is it starts to peel and chip there, water gets in there, and that's what causes it to peel and chip right there where the motor mounts mount up and everything. So I'm going to show you what we're doing here, and I'm going to grab a can of paint, and you can kind of watch me doing what I'm doing here. Hey, y'all been, man? So this is Zach Bailey's 1948 pan frame. We're putting a shovel motor in it. Would you like to see the motor? Sure you would. Zach's been polishing the stuff on this. We still have the jugs and the lifter stools to paint up, but I'm gonna take a look at it here. So, you know, we'll get it cleaned up, ready to go. So that's what he's been working on it real hard at. And I'm gonna set this up here and I'll kind of show you. I just puff them in with the puff can, and I'll show you kind of what's going on here. I got them all taped off nice. Just take a little bit of, I usually use a satin. And I just put enough material on there to cover it. Give it a little shake. Of course, these are different tips. You ever seen these spray cans have all the different tips on them? You twist this around. That's crazy. Look at the tip in there. See if I can get it to stop splattering. You gotta blow a little bit out. Get something to blow the paint on right there. There we go. We got to clear it out now. So it's gonna go light dusting. You know, give it just a couple coats. We don't want a whole bunch of paint on there. Oh yeah, what fun. I'm gonna get this will dry up and stuff. I have a little bit more just sanding and just kind of detailing to do before I go ahead and wipe it down with wax and grease remover, blow it off, wet the floor, turn the exhaust fans on, and then I'm gonna get some base coat on it, and then we're gonna clear it. So that should be good. I'll get down with some black. Oh, that's good. These are just pretty much the machine surfaces. And you know, you're not going to see it anyway, but it's going to protect it from rust. Water and stuff's not going to, you know, eat it up bad or whatever. And we don't have to worry about all that clear and all that paint being on there with the vibration of the motor moving around. And you know how it is, you put your motor in, you tighten it down, you ride it for 200 or 300 miles, and you better be tightening your stuff up again, because it's just the way it is. You need to re-torque everything down. You'll feel your bike start to rattle and stuff, and you start hearing weird stuff. Well, usually this top motor mount just came loose. Motor's starting to rattle up here. So that's what we do with it. And I'm gonna let this tack up in a second. I'll give it another coat. I'll talk to y'all for a sec. Here, we've got a chair. So what we've done with this frame, we went around and we really didn't mold it. We didn't mold it or anything. We smoothed where the welds were. We stripped it clear down, of course, to bare metal, and cleaned it really, really good. And then we went in and sprayed it with a metal etching primer. Then we went back in and sanded areas that we wanted to fill. We just filled them in lightly with a little bit of Bondo and smoothed everything out. Of course, we still have our welded transitions, which I always like to see. I don't like a bike that's totally molded. I wanted to see more of the mechanical or how it was put together. But I do like it smoothed up, because some of these older frames and stuff were pretty rough. So we went through that, and we sanded it out with 220, and then I came back in with a real high build primer over our bodywork, and we high builded it, and then we busted it down again, and then I hit it one more time, and now I'm sanded out to 600 grit. And that's where I'll leave it. Then I'll spray my first base coat on there, and I'll see how it goes on. I don't want it grainy or anything like that. If I get anything in it, or something that looks a little rough, after I just lightly hit it with that first base coat, making sure when I go around that I get into all the little small holes first. All the little places that are real hard to get paint in, I'll shoot some in there first. But that first coat, if I have something rough or something in the paint, I'll go back with, I have like a soft 600 sponge pad, and I'll just lightly scuff them little spots off and make sure it's nice and slick before I lay down a wet coat. Then I'll probably lay down 3 coats. I'll do my light coat, and then I'll do a wet coat and another wet coat. And then on my last coat, I'll do an orientation coat, which means I'm spraying farther away at a little wider fan, and I'm just trying to get all the metal flake to lay down in the same direction, so it doesn't have any modeling or anything in it. This is more of it's kind of a platinum color, or off a soft silver is what it's going to be, which is pretty much all metal flake. And then we'll probably let it tack up for about half an hour or so. It's been real warm in here in Texas, so stuff's been drying real fast. And then we'll move on to clear from there. But I'll show you some of that here as we go. This is ready for another little coat here. So I'm going to shoot another little coat, make sure it's all covered. You don't need a lot of paint. Just enough to make it lay down slick so it looks pretty nice. And that's all you need. And then I'll go ahead and take these areas off, before I paint. Yeah, that'll do pretty good. I think so. Okay. Some of the things that you can do, which I don't do, is for the coil mounts right here. They're pretty small. You're not putting tons of foot-pounds or whatever on those type of items. And another thing I don't do is where the oil bag mounts. A lot of times on these hardtail frames, when you're mounting the oil bag, sometimes they're just too low. They're hitting the top of the clutch rod or whatever. So a lot of times I have to space that oil bag up and get it closer up here to the frame. So I don't do this mount here because a lot of times I have to build spacers to go on there anyway. All right. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys what it is, and we'll start peeling the tape off of it. So you can see I've just, blacked those areas out. We're just right with the machined area where the motor sits and stuff. I don't want that clear, pulling off as we tighten everything down. And just a little tip. It makes things look a little nicer and last longer. If you're going to spend the time to do a project like this, like we have, I think we probably got 60 hours, I would probably imagine, already in this frame, in the body work and everything we've done so far. Of course, Zach has many, many hours at just fixing stuff right on it, and he's a heck of a welder. But great to see you here. Thanks for being here, saying hello. Keep in touch. Tell us Hog Shop. Have a great day.